Who haven't I said hello to yet? Who is brand new? Hello, Wolfram. Good to see you, Wolfram. The stream is live. Hello, everybody joining us on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. I've said hello so many times already. I feel like I'm
Hello,
going mad.
Jamie.
Now, give us a wave if you are brand new to Stay at Home Choir. I know plenty of you have done the Great British Home Chorus, but I'd love to come and say hello to a tenor or a bass that I haven't yet met. I'm going to say hello to Andrew Alcock. Andrew, how are you doing, sir? Grab that.
Very well, thank you very much. Press the wrong button there.
Fabulous. Where are you zooming in from today, Andrew?
This is Cornwall, just a bit that no one knows about, Torpoint. People think it's part of Plymouth, but it's not. It's Cornwall.
Brilliant. Oh, I'm very jealous. How's the weather where you are? Because it's freezing where I am right now, and it's deeply unpleasant.
It was nearly raining a minute ago, but other than that, fine. Thank you very much.
Nearly raining. That sounds like just the UK, doesn't it? I think it's always a state of nearly raining, isn't it? I always joke that summer is my favorite day of the year here. Brilliant. Andrew, welcome. It's lovely to have you. Are you a Great British Home Chorus singer? Are you new? What's your...
New? My wife and daughter were in the Great British Home Chorus, and I realised I'd missed out a bit, so I thought I'd join this one.
Brilliant. Oh, that's fab to hear. Well, you're very welcome, Andrew. Thanks for joining us. Give us a wave if you are brand new to Stay at Home Choir. I want to come and say hello. I'll say hello to one other person, then we'll do some work, shall we? It's not all fun and games here. Elaine. Hi, Elaine. You're right next to me on my screen. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Fabulous. And you're brand new to Stay at Home Choir?
I am, yes.
Brilliant. Are you a Great British Home Chorus friend, or have you found us from somewhere else?
I was Great British Home Chorus.
Brilliant. And where are you zooming in from today? Where's home for you?
Sybil Hedingham in Essex.
Oh, in Essex. Are you? Where's that? Is that near Billericay by any chance?
Close-ish.
Close-ish. Okay, well, when we're back into real singing, my choir's in Billericay, so if you fancy joining, we'll see you there. Right, okay. Elaine, it's lovely to have you. Have you been a connoisseur of virtual projects this lockdown, or this time period that we're in, or is this you fairly new to it?
Well, only the Great British Home Chorus earlier on last year, but since then I've had a break, but I'm glad to be back.
Great. And are you tenor or bass, Elaine?
Yeah, that's the issue. I'm an alto, but I can't get up to the top C. But I'm sure you're in a very large boat. C. So I'm a bit in betweeny.
Brilliant. So tell you what, Elaine, I will make sure for the altos with the low notes, the fruity altos, let's call you, for the altos all in a similar boat, we'll make sure we do lots of work on sort of range, because obviously this has got fairly extended range for actually pretty much every part in this. But without further ado, I think the stream is going. I'm just going to say hello to Tori, who's next to me. Hello, Tori. How are you?
Greetings. Just had a lovely rehearsal with the sopranos and altos. Just thought I'd come and sit in the corner of the room and say hi and have a little listen to the rehearsal. So hello. I won't be here for the whole thing, but I just thought I'd drop in and say hi.
Brilliant. Well, you're very welcome. Everybody knows this is the best sectional, so I understand why you'd want to join. Tenors and basses. If you're able to join me standing, please do so. Otherwise, please make sure you're sat up straight. We'll do a quick warm-up before we start singing. I'm going to have to move my chair because I still have a camera set up behind me. Things are being made. Here we go. Great. So, you know my favorite one. Please copy me as fast as you possibly can. All of you were too slow just then. I said, copy me as fast as you possibly can. There we go. Good. I'm still on grid view with the YouTube stream, so plenty of people will be seeing the grid. Don't move until I say switch. So you should all keep your hands on your head. I saw that. That was about 20 of you. Keep your hands on your head until I say switch, then you're going to join me. Keep your hands on, no, keep your hands on your head, switch. Don't move. Do not move. I saw that. Do not move. You should have your hands on your shoulders. Switch. Don't move until I say switch. Don't move, switch. 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 I love a good grid of jazz hands. Who doesn't? Brilliant. Reach up, please. Stretch as high as you possibly can. Now, I love a good physical warm-up before we start singing. Shake your arms out. I love a good physical warm-up. We are athletes as singers. It may not feel like it, certainly when we've spent most of this year sat down staring at a Zoom screen, but actually singing uses our entire body, shoulders back. Singing uses our entire body, and we need to make sure it is at least warmed up every single time we start singing. Shoulders forwards. Lovely. Now, anytime we do a warm up like this, if you need to change it to suit your own body, whether that's you have an accessibility requirement or whatever it might be, if you've injured yourself, for instance, just one shoulder forward, do change these however you need. The warm up is for you. It is not for me, though, of course, I'm warming up with you. Other shoulder forward. Do change these as you need. So if you think, oh, you know what, I'm going to switch up this warm up just a little bit, please, by all means, do so. Good. Reach up one more time and leaning over to one side as far as you like. It's yoga with the stay-at-home choir. I don't know what pose this is, but there we go. And keep breathing. Put your hand on the other side and feel that expansion as you keep breathing. Lovely. Keep breathing. Do not stop breathing. Let's go to the other side. We don't need to push too far, just enough to wake up the muscles. Keep breathing. Lovely. Keep breathing and reaching up again and folding forward. So we're bent over. You're going to slowly fold back down, letting yourself fold almost in half, hanging down. So your arms are hanging down. Your knees are nice and relaxed. Your neck is nice and relaxed. Give your shoulders a shake. Give your shoulders a shake. And give your knees a wiggle. Keep breathing. Don't stop breathing. You'll notice a theme in our rehearsals. Certainly mine. I know Tori's the same about the breath. Never stop breathing. Good. And slowly, very slowly, to a count of 10, your head is going to be the last thing to come upright. You're going to slowly come to a standing position to a count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice and slow. 7, 8, 9 and a half, 10. Now, just so I know what I've got in front of me as a room, could you give me a singular jazz hand if you are brand new to stay-at-home choir? Brilliant. Okay, a really decent amount of you. You're all very welcome. Thank you for joining us. I will talk about some things that we've covered in previous rehearsals, but I will try to make myself as clear as possible for those of you that may not have heard my crazy images before. I'd like to look at how we stand first. Whenever you're standing, it's super important. And I know plenty of you will know this, but our aim as singers is to reduce unnecessary tension. That is a good habit to get into. We should feel nice and relaxed when we're standing. So could you please tense every single muscle in your body? Go. And breathe out, relax. Now, every single muscle. I want to see your face screw up this time. Off we go. Squeeze, really squeeze, and breathe out, relax. Lovely, good. And last time, go. Squeeze, really squeeze everything. Squeeze your hands, squeeze your legs, squeeze your toes, squeeze your face, squeeze your knees, squeeze your bottom, squeeze everything. Keep squeezing until you regret coming to this rehearsal, and breathe out, relax. Notice any tension that you feel might have crept in. Just check in. How do your shoulders feel? How do your knees feel? Give your knees a wiggle. Give your knees a wiggle. Have a little boogie. Lovely. Give your arms a bit of a shake. Nice. This is a really good thing to do before we start singing every time. Could you give me a wave, please? Thanks, everyone. Hi. Stick that hand, please, just below your belly button. If you want to find where your lower abdominal muscles are, your thumb is going to sit on your belly button. Your hand will sit just beneath it. These are our lower support muscles. We talk about support in singing in that our voice isn't just this. We need to utilize all of these muscles here to help us sing as best as we possibly can. So with one hand on your lower abdominals, could you give me a big thumbs up, please? Thanks, guys. You're so supportive. Stick that thumb in your side. Now, when you breathe in, you will notice that you will expand this way. Try that, go. You should expand here. It's not the most flattering of things if I stand sideways. Somebody put that into a trailer recently and I was very unimpressed. And then as we start singing, as we start making a noise, you will feel these muscles engage. You will feel these muscles work. So make this sound after me. Go. Lovely. So you should feel these muscles engaging anytime you make a noise. So breathing in, we expand this way. Breathing out, we expand this way. What a strange image, but it's a really useful way of figuring out if these muscles are really working, because if they're not, you're probably putting unnecessary pressure and tension on your voice up here, which we need to be super careful. It is a tiny bit of muscle. So repeat after me. Shh, shh, shh. Go. Shh, shh, shh. Lovely. Lovely. Now notice if you're doing what I call gas pedaling, in that imagine if you get in a car and you put your foot down, then you immediately let go. Try that. It's not a particularly economic way to drive, but it's also not a particularly great way to sing. So I'd like you to imagine that your foot never comes off the accelerator when you're singing. You're always connected to your voice, just in the same way that when you drive, I hope you don't stamp and remove your foot on the accelerator every time you need to move. Same applies to a motorbike, same applies to a bicycle. You don't want your legs to be just flapping around. You need to always feel connected and in control of the voice. That's all it is. Go. Lovely. I can see loads of you using the physical movements as well. That's a really useful thing because it helps us physicalize our voice and it can help get rid of unnecessary tension. If you ever go and look at singers, professional singers, either on an opera stage or wherever, they will make all sorts of weird things and then you see them look very serious on stage and you wonder how they don't do it. It's useful. It helps us engage with the voice. Go. Lovely. Right, Great British Home Chorus. I'm going to introduce you to my favourite image in singing, and I'm going to keep you on grid view for now. This is called the trout pout, and it looks like this. You're going to have to get super up close to your camera so I know that you're doing it. It looks like this. I say it every time, but you are a beautiful bunch. The trout pout. What this does, it's a big ooh sound, and we're going to go from the very top of our voice to the very bottom to an ooh, and we're going to try and navigate it as best as possible. Remember, those of you that were in the last rehearsal, I spoke about how we prepare the breath. Imagining that camera is just coming round and you're about to tell a story on a CBBC channel, for instance. I want that nice breath to start with, and we're going to work through the range. I'll do it first. It sounds like this. All the way through the range, so tenors and basses, it is in the falsetto right at the top of your range. See how well you can navigate it as smooth as possible. It shouldn't feel like there are too many lumps and bumps and road bumps on the way. Off we go, give it a go. Lovely, good. Let's try from the bottom to the top, making sure that breath is nice and released at the beginning. Off we go. Lovely, good. So let's talk about the breath. We will come to do some real singing in a moment, but I really love a good warm-up. That is a really useful exercise. The smoother you can make that, by smooth I mean your voice doesn't do this. As you go through, it should feel as smooth and as easy as possible. That's a great exercise, but let's talk a little bit about the breath. I talk with stay-at-home choir all the time about the 5-pound breath, and it's the same as the CBBC breath that I described the other day. It is as if you have just found 5 pounds on the floor, or you've seen someone across the street that you haven't seen in a long time and it's a lovely surprise. What do you do if you have a lovely surprise, but not, let's say, a life-changing surprise? You haven't won the lottery yet. You do this. Your face lights up, your muscles here engage, it's a genuine smile, and you breathe in just slightly. So show that to me, go. Lovely. This is the best way to breathe. Every single time you breathe in order to sing, your breath should feel like this, nice and relaxed, nice and bright, with a little bit of a smile. Off we go, one more time. Nice, good. We're going to breathe in to a count of 4, breathing out to a count of 6 on a sh sound. That's an SH sound. Once we get to the end of our breath, you're just going to let yourself breathe. So you should have completely used all of your air by the time we get to 6. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, shh, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe. Nice. Let's do that one more time. Breathing into 4, out to 8 this time. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, shh, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and nice. Every single time you have to breathe, it has got to feel like the 5-pound breath. We say that almost every rehearsal. I keep trying to come up with a better image, but I can't. No, I can. I can think of plenty of images, but I really love that one. You've just found 5 pounds on the floor. It's enough to buy a rather large brownie or a piece of cake. That's all it is. It's as simple as that. Every single time you breathe to sing. Right. Should we do some singing? Grab a seat. Grab your music. There we go. I've lost Lucy today. I'm not sure where she is. I'll find her later. Grab your music. Here we go. There I am. Apologies to anyone who's got my face on a very large screen right now. Here we go. So let's sing this through. We'll sing this through right at the end of this rehearsal as well. We've got some time in this sectional to do a little bit of work on notes. I'd love to talk about a little bit of the technique, about how we approach it, and more importantly, storytelling. Remembering what Gareth said the other day, let's look at that translation before we start. Right at the top of the piece. This place was made by God. It is priceless and sacred. It is blameless. This is a wonderful piece of text. Those of you that know the Bruckner version will of course know it already, but this is a very personal text, and I want to hear, when I listen to your recordings, I want to hear that personal story. How am I going to hear that? I want you to interpret this. It is not the job of the conductor, me, Gareth, Tori, to tell you how to interpret it. We do the let's get a bit louder, a bit faster, a bit slower, but I want you to put your own meaning and your own personal idea into how you sing and how you perform this. So I want this to mean something to you by the end of this project. So looking at those words one more time. Locus iste a Deo factus est. Say it. Locus iste a Deo factus est. 2 very long words. Inestimabile sacramentum. Go. Inestimabile sacramentum. Irreprehensibilis est. Go. Irreprehensibilis est. So, not hugely complicated, but if you're not mega familiar with Latin, it's hardly an easy read, is it? But we've got lots of time to practice that. So, in this sing through, don't worry too much about the words and getting the words perfect, or getting the notes perfect for that matter. What I want to see on your faces is that you are trying to tell the story of this already. And Gareth spoke very eloquently about that the other day. So here we go. I am looking to Andrew, Elaine, Charlie, Anne and Eileen at the top of my screen to give me a big thumbs up so I know you can hear this when I hit play. Make sure you do the clap. Here we go. Let me get my little window up so I can see you all. Here we go. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
factus est. Locus iste, locus iste, adeo factus est. Locus iste, adeo factus est. Locus iste, adeo factus est. 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 Adeo, adeo, adeo factus est. Locus iste, adeo factus est.
Ooh, isn't that lovely? Isn't it lovely? I say that after every project we do, but we seem to be very, very lucky with them. You guys are sounding very good already, but let's go back to the beginning. Let's look at this main theme that we work on. I've just spotted a hello from Norwich. Hello from Norwich. Brian, I used to live in Norwich. I'm a proper Norfolk boy. I lived in Coltishall, Norwich. Welcome. Let's look at page 2, bar 17, please. For the Americans in the room, that's measure 17, but it is also still page 2. Let's look at this main phrase. Lo. So, difficult to hear the bass. Yes, we'll work on that. Locus iste. Very, very gentle, very lovely. This should be almost sung to yourself. It's you're doing the dishes in the evening and you're singing to yourself. Or you're not doing the dishes. In my case, my other half is actually in the other room doing the dishes at the moment. I did say I had a rehearsal. I had a good excuse today. But you're singing this to yourself. It's like a warm hug. This is the main tune. We come back to it right at the end. Let's try it. Let's just sing that whole first phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Locus iste, adeo factus est. Now, that's quite a long phrase, and looking at the final bar of page 2, it doesn't look like we have much time to take a breath, but let's think how we're going to breathe. We're going to breathe like we've just found £5 on the floor and we get a brownie. or whatever your preferred cake or sweet treat might be. Locus iste ade. That's going to do two things. Firstly, it's going to get the amount of air that we need to sing this appropriately into our lungs. That's the important bit. But by breathing with a little bit of a smile, what that does is that lifts the soft palate, and it's going to help with the vowel of adeo. Could we all just go, ah, like you've just had a good piece of news? Ah, or you've just realised something. One more time. Ah. Go really far with it. Go really far with it. Let me get myself on spotlight. There we go. Go almost as if you've just had some really extremely good news. Ah. Oh, lovely. I just heard. Liz, I'm going to stick you on mute, but I'm so glad to hear you. Thank you. It was just the one R, though. It was perfectly demonstrated, I must add. There we go. I will make sure I use the mute all button. I'm sorry, Liz. I hope you don't mind. That doesn't happen all that often. Ah, go. Ah, lovely. That's it. It's that open vowel rather than ah. I'm not trying to force the sound out. I'm not trying to make it sound a particular way. It is just an R vowel. Adeo factus est. Say it. Adeo
factus est.
And open. That's all it is. I'm going to use that mute button again, and I'm not going to allow you to unmute yourselves. There we go. Save any accidental spacebar presses. So let's keep moving, shall we? Because we've got the notes to that. That's easy. Tenors, let's look at yours on page 4, bar 29. I have left the chat open, so if you do have any questions that you'd like to cover, please do put them. I can't promise that we'll cover them because this is the first session, but I will get to as many as I possibly can. Here we go. Locus iste. That's kind of easy note-wise, isn't it? It's kind of easy, but it's a really hard phrase, and I'll tell you why. Because any repeated note, particularly in that kind of upper middle register, so ex altos in this session, you're going to have to really bolster that note. But whenever you have a repeated note, the tendency will be for it to pull flat. Locus iste. Because we get tired singing long phrases. So rather than thinking I'm reaching up to this top note, locus is, I'd like you to imagine that you are, I use the image of stepping stones quite a lot for this. You're walking across the top. Locus iste. It could be a nice dream where you count sheep and they're jumping from cloud to cloud, if you like. But it should feel light and easy. Otherwise, it's going to pull flat. Let's try that, please. Basses, you can join me if you like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Locus iste. And what's going to help you there is a brightness of vowel, just a little bit of engagement. If you've watched America's Next Top Model or anything like that, you'll have heard them talk about smizing. It's smiling with your eyes. Now, I don't suggest that we're going to go and win America's Next Top Model. I know I certainly couldn't. But a little bit of a smile is going to really, really help with our voice because it engages these muscles. It helps us raise our soft palate. It brightens the vowel and it makes everything that little bit easier. Everybody, let's try that phrase sat in, you've done 3 hours of whatever your least favourite subject at school was. Try it. 3, 4. Locus iste. It's not easy, is it? So that's why we need to make sure we're sat up straight, or we're stood up straight, we're stood well, we've got no unnecessary tension. Let's note bash the next bit. Tenors, it's a nasty one, isn't it? Sing it with me if you know. Basses, here's your note. There's your F. Tenors, there's your C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Locus iste ade eo factus est. Lovely. So let's just pull apart something first. We have the marking PP at the beginning of this. PP stands for pianissimo, and it is the Italian term for as quiet as possible. All that means, when I see that as a singer, is as quiet as I can sing well. This doesn't mean go and hide away and not sing well. It means sing as quietly as you can while still singing well. So if you feel you're communicating well and you're making a good sound, that's all that matters. Don't worry about being the quietest in the room. If you're too loud, I'll turn you down in the mix. That's the good bit. Poco vib means a little bit of vibrato. Now, there's a big argument in choirs, I'm sure plenty of you have had it, about vibrato, no vibrato. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It is a result of good singing. If you are singing well, you will have vibrato in your voice. It is a result of the nerves that control your vocal folds firing at whatever rate your nerves fire. That is what gives you the speed of your vibrato. So no two vibratos are ever exactly the same. Some voices have lots of vibrato, some voices don't. It is neither a good nor a bad thing, but it is something we can increase or decrease for colour. That's all I'm going to say on it, but do not worry too much about whether you should or shouldn't have vibrato. If you want to enjoy the fruitiness a little bit more when he says poco vib, do so. Let's please take a look. At the end of this page, we've got a tie, which just means don't breathe between te and ah in the last bar of this page. You can breathe anywhere else, just not between those two syllables. That's what staggered breathing is. It is, listen to your neighbour. When they're breathing, don't breathe. When they're not breathing, you're allowed to breathe. How on earth do we do that in a virtual choir? We guess. And we can make an educated guess by not going in the obvious places. That's the way to do it. We will come back and we'll sing. Let's go, please, from bar 29, top of page 4. There's your C tenors. I'm going to sing the first line in the tenors, then I'm going to go to the baritone part. There's your F baritones. Let's sing these 2 pages. 1, 2, 3, and locus iste, locus iste ade eo factus est. And you breathe. How are you going to breathe at the end of est when you've completely run out of breath? Find £5 on the floor. Find £5. Every single time. Great. Let's keep moving, shall we? I would like to look at... I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep moving in exactly the same place. Let's look at the baritone part first. In tenors, there's your B and there's your A baritones. Let's have a go. Let's sing it. Be confident in any wrong notes you might make. There's an A, there's a B. 1, 2, 3, 4. In estimabile. Let's look at the tenor part. Let's repeat exactly that. I'll go over the tenor part this time. There's your tenor note. There's your bass note. I've spotted the est. Andrew, I'll come back to that in a second for you. Tenor part this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. In estimabile sacramentum. Let's just check that one out, because that's a big jump, isn't it? Sacramentum. Your turn. Go. Sacramentum. One more time, please. Sacramentum. Lovely. Let me let in a couple of people. So, what's a really useful way to look at this? You've got the learning tracks. If you're ever not sure about a note, go and listen to those learning tracks and you can slowly begin to work through and it will wheedle its way into your brain. But if you're ever stuck on a section and you want to really practice it, isolate it and repeat it. Once you know you've got it right, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And that age-old phrase, isn't it? Practice until you can't get it wrong, I think it is. Practice until you get it right. It's not that. It's practice until you can't get it wrong. That's the one. I need to practice that phrase more clearly. Here we go. But let's look at it one more time. We're going to now sing from Mobile, tenors. Mobile sacramentum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mobile sacramentum. One more time. 3, 4. Mobile sacramentum. Good. Let's look at your next phrase. Tenors, baritones, I've not forgotten about you. I'm coming to you next. You repeat exactly the same thing. In estimabile. And then it changes. Sacramentum. It gets quite high. So altos, you're getting into your zone of power here. Mobile sacramentum. Let's do from the beginning of this line. This is bar 45, the beginning of page 6. There's an A basses and there's a B tenors. I'm going to sing the tenor part, then I will sing the bass part. We'll sing this twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. In estimabile sacramentum. Good. Now, it's easy to look at a higher note like that and go, sacramentum, and really get into our Royal Opera House mode at that point. Avoid that temptation. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to diminuendo. What does diminuendo mean? It means get quieter. Sacramentum. You will hear this in the tenor parts. It's the classy way of doing it. That's what we're going to do in this one. It's the classy way of doing it. Sacramentum. And just like with pianissimo at the beginning, it is as quietly as you can sing well. If you're going sacramentum and you suddenly forget how to sing on the last two notes, you're too quiet. Okay? Let's just go back because I'd like to answer one question at the top of page 5 on factus est. That ST. You will notice the rit above the phrase. Rit is short for ritardando, which just means slowing down, and you will hear this in the track. You will have a video with Gareth conducting for your recording, so don't worry, he will make that clear. But what you need to do is make the ST of est as little as you can, and it'll sound like this. Est. It's not too big, it's not too small. It is completely audible, but it is not est. There's always one in the choir, isn't there? Don't be that one. Don't be overly keen. Let's sing this whole phrase, please. I'd like to go from the bottom of page 5. I'm going to sing the bass part this time. So bass is listening in. And I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of page 6. So basses, we will look at that awkward little modulation section. Here we go. This is, there is your A basses and there is your B tenors. Have a go a cappella. We'll do it with the track at the end, see how much has gone in. From bar 41, the bottom of page 5. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. In estimabile. In estimabile. 1. Sacramentum. Sacramentum. Good. Little bit tricky. Let me see. Practice till you find yourself singing it in the supermarket. I like that, Derek. I remember my first audition in London. I was walking around the city, the very serious bit of London, and I was walking around going because I didn't have a room to warm up in, and I walked straight into a banker, and they thought I was completely barking mad. And they were right. In the bass part, there are smaller notes in bars 12 and 16, and again in bars 29 to 32. Let me have a check. Smaller notes in 29 to 32. If you're looking in the individual parts, those are known as cue notes. Those are just what you are listening for to know when to come back in. If you're in the full score, you'll see that those cue notes are actually another part. So those are a good way to know when you're coming in, if that helps. But if they are smaller notes, they are not yours to sing, they are somebody else's. Don't steal them, please. Here we go. Let's look at this in bar 49. Then we'll have covered a really good amount of this for our first sectional. So, basses. You are listening. If you listen to the piano part, you will have, or more likely this. Da, that's the note I can hear. And you will hear this in the backing part. Now, if you hear that note, you need to come in on sa. So, that's your phrase. Sacrament. So, listening to Sacra. I'm just going to play this. Can you hear this? Anne, could you give me a thumbs up if you can hear this keyboard, please? Brilliant. Thanks, Ian, and thanks, Elaine, as well. I'm going to just repeat this. There's your note, sa. Could you just, a couple of times in your own time, come in on sa. When you're ready, go. Sa. One more time. Sa. One more. Sa. So that is what you're looking for. You are basically completing the chord. Or you're singing the bottom one. Sacra. Tim, there is a few versions of the score. One is the full score, which is the one I'm working from for this. There are also part versions available. So if those of you that prefer it on 1 to 2 pages rather than many to many more, you can print out just your part if that helps. That is the same score. It just has the other parts removed and those little cue notes in. So don't worry, you're not missing anything. Sacramentum. Baritones, join me. And 1, 2. Sacramentum. Next bit. Sacramentum. One more time. Let's do that whole phrase. You've heard me sing it now. See if you can join me. 1, 2. Sacramentum, sacramentum. Good, we'll do that one more time. Tenors, when you hear sa in the basses, your note is just one away. Sa. So when you hear the basses, what I'd like you to sing in your head is sa, sa. I could have explained that far more clearly. I would like you to imagine in your head the bass part in advance of coming in on your part. So you will go sa, sa. Got it? Hopefully that made a bit more sense. I can see some of you nodding. Thanks, Eileen. That's it. So I'm going to sing the bass part. You are just going to sing your first note, tenors. Here we go. There's the G you are looking for, that note. Sacra, sa. One more time. 1, 2. Sacra, sa. That is your starting note. So whenever you hear that note in the basses, you're going to go sacra, sa. Let's sing the whole phrase rather than just a bunch of silly noises. Let's sing from there, tenors. 1, 2. Sacramentum. No worries, Romeo. See you soon. You can catch up later. So that A flat, if you have printed out your score, tenors, could you please circle that A flat? That's on the syllable men of mentum. The reason I'd like you to circle it is because that is the jazz hand note. You are the first people to get the jazz hand note because it goes sacramentum. It's just a little bit funky. That's your jazz hand note. Let's go back. Let's see if we can do it in practice. I'm going to sing the bass part. Tenors, you're going to sing your part. Sacra. Sa. There's your G baritones. There's your A tenors. I'm going to go 1, 2, sa. Here we go. Everyone in. 1, 2. Sacramentum. Sacramentum. So, if you finished on there or there, you were absolutely correct. Let's keep moving for the sake of finishing the piece before we get to the end. Sacramentum. Repeat for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sacramentum. That's a long note. How are we going to prepare? Easy as that. Easy. I'm going to go to grid view because I'd like to check that everyone's doing it. I can see 5 people every now and then at the top of my screen doing it brilliantly, but I want to make sure I can see everybody. Make sure I can see you. Show me that. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And I want that phrase. Sacramentum. But I want to see the in advance. Make sure you take enough breath for the whole phrase. 1, 2, 3. Sacramentum. Hey, nice, brilliant. Well done, everyone. You sound fabulous. At least I think you do. You look like you do, which is just as important. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about vowels for this because the text is the same. It's very short throughout, but this is a good phrase to do it on. Could you say this as if you are completely bored? It is the I'm sat in, I wasn't that person. I was the keen kid at the front of class, unfortunately. No surprises there, really. But I want you're sat there, you've done 3 hours of whatever your least favourite subject is. For me, it was maths, not because I don't like maths. I really like maths, but I was really bad at it and I just never got it. And you've sat there for 3 hours and you can just about muster an answer. Sacramentum. 1, 2, 3, go. Sacramentum. Lovely. Well, nicely demonstrated badly. Thank you, everyone. Now, why on earth do I do this? This is negative practice. This is practicing the bad version so you can see what the good version does differently. One more time, but the good version now. Sitting up straight. Bright face. Nice breath. 1, 2, 3. Sacramentum. Lovely. You can see it's a world apart. Obviously, it's a bit extreme sat like this, but the vowel is more open, more bright. Your face lights up. You have more breath because you're not squishing your lungs. We haven't quite covered the last little bit, but I will do that in the next session. Let's please sing from bar 5. We've done that. I'd like to go to the bottom of page 8, please. Adeo, adeo. Let's just have a sight sing. So you've heard this phrase again from the sopranos and altos. Locus iste adeo factus est. Clue. Grab your pencil. Look where sopranos and altos sing de of deo. They sing de. Those are your notes. Tenors, you're on the G, which is de, and basses, you're on a. So the way you're going to get your notes here is you're going to sing along with the sopranos and altos, and you're going to circle either the first note of deo if you're a tenor, and you're going to draw a line all the way to your note in bar 66. If you're a bass, you're going to look at the second note of Deo, which is the minim on the E. Day. And you are going to draw a line all the way down to bar 66. I do this all the time in my scores. All the way down to bar 66. And that is the note you will come in on. So I'm going to sing that phrase, and then we are going to sing Adeo factus est, Adeo factus est. Let's see if we can do it there. I realise we're moving very quickly, but let's do it. Then we'll do a full run through before we finish. Not past tense. Stand up if you like. You're very welcome to. I'm going to sing the sopranos and alto part. 1. Locus iste adeo factus est. 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 Adeo, adeo, adeo factus est. Now, take a look at the bar we're on. We have a fermata, which looks like that bracket with a dot in the middle. That's a fermata. All that means is hold, and you can hear this in the learning tracks. That means we're going to hold that note for 6 beats instead of 4. And you will hear the click to help you out. I've added a little click to the track, and we go Adeo factus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, lo. And you can hear this. When you hear the slightly louder click in the learning track, when you hear the slightly louder click, that is the first of 4 clicks to help you go in, help you start the next bar. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Locus. That'll make sense when you go and listen back. The loud click at this point is the first of 4 clicks before you start singing the next little chunk. Gareth will also be helping you out on that. And then the end. Locus iste adeo factus est. I'm not going to go over that now, because you can listen to that one for the notes. It's nice and quiet. It's pianissimo. We know what pianissimo means. Not any quieter than is good singing for you. As quiet as you can sing well. Let's please. I realise I've moved very quickly over the adeo factus est bit. We will do a little bit more work on that in the next sectional, I promise. But for now, in our last few minutes, let's go right back to the very beginning. Let's look at those words one more time. This place was made by God. It is priceless and sacred. It is blameless. Now, our job is to storytell. That is our job as singers. We are telling a story. This is why I love that image that I used the other day of when a camera comes around to you and you're going to go to tell a story to a bunch of small people. Whether you are good at telling stories to a bunch of small people or otherwise, I'd like to imagine that kind of thing. We're about to tell a story, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're evoking things, and that's our job as musicians, is to tell stories and make people feel things, whether good or bad. So, let's please... I've accidentally closed the video, so let me just open it up one more time. With the clap, please. Let's stand, and we'll do a full run through. Here we go. Locus iste. Let's see how much has gone in. If you are super worried about notes, please don't worry. You can watch this video as often as you like. You can go through, you can listen to the learning tracks and visit these rehearsals as many times as you like before you come to record. Here we go. I've just seen Mike, Double Chemistry, Saturday morning. Oh, I've been there and I feel your pain, Mike. Here we go. With the clap as well, please. Let me make sure I've got my little floating control. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there we go. Isn't that rather wonderful? I'm going to go back to grid view so I can see you all. Now, I have a thing with one of my other choirs. I can see one of you in here, Martin. Could I see a thumbs up to a thumbs down? I call this the thermometer. Yep, one of my kids' choir members gave me that one. How are we feeling after a first session having looked at that? Be honest. If you're here, that's absolutely fine. I can see some thumbs up. I can see some middly, some a little low, but not at 0. Okay, good. Good. I quite like this. It just makes me feel, like, I don't know, it's sort of gladiator-esque. Hoping for not too many of these, but there we go. Hey, tenors and basses. This is going to be absolutely fabulous. I cannot wait to hear this take shape. Thank you for joining us in the first rehearsal. Those of you that aren't yet, you can join us in the members page on Facebook. All you have to do is find members, Stay at Home Choir. I know plenty of you are already, and GBHC, I know plenty of you have migrated as well. If you aren't yet a member, all you need to do is search members, Stay at Home Choir. The password is Lucy. I will explain that later for those of you that don't know. The password is Lucy. It was on your welcome email as well if you forget. That's a great place to go to ask questions of the other members. We do monitor it as much as we can, but there are quite a lot of you and not a lot of us. So we keep up as much as we can. If you have any further questions, get lost on the website, you can't find something, you have an issue with the booking, whatever it might be, contact us at contact@stayathomechoir.com is our email. We are very friendly. Kat and Emily, our new administrator, will be on hand to help. Anything like that. We have plenty of rehearsals, so if you're still feeling a bit nervous about it, don't worry. We've got loads of time. Do not worry, there is no pressure. Thanks for joining us. I think that's all from me. Have a lovely weekend. I will see you at whatever the next session is. Goodbye. See you soon. Bye, everyone. I'm going to let you unmute yourselves now. Here we go. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
See you,
See you, Ben.
Hello.
Have a good weekend.
Everyone.
Have a good